All right, welcome everyone. I've got a very special guest today for the YouTube channel, Craig Cobb. You've probably seen his face around online and out there. He's a veteran of the markets. He was actually someone that when I first got into crypto in 2017, I used to listen to his podcast called Trader Cobb, I think it was. Is that right, Craig?
Trader Cobb crypto show, yeah.
Yeah. I remember listening to you when I was out walking about, getting to know what this new thing's all about. Anyway, I'll hand it over to you, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Craig.
Thanks, mate. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's going to be fun talking to another trader, which is a real trader who's actually trading. But look, my story is pretty straightforward. I mean, well, it's not straightforward, but my story is I've been trading for over 20 years. I used to trade stocks, bonds, commodities, a lot of the markets that you trade now, mate.
Mhm.
And I got introduced to crypto in 2017, about July. My first Bitcoin purchase was 3,000 US dollars. I've had my X account for trading since 2009. So I had a few people watching and whatnot. And in crypto, I started posting about it as I was watching. I'm
Mhm.
like, it was at 5,600. I'm like, I'm buying at three. Everybody's like, oh, you're an idiot. Get out of here. You've got no idea about crypto. Anyway, I got filled in all my orders and everyone went, oh, okay. That was my introduction into crypto, but I've been trading a long time, man. All over the
Mm.
world, it's taken me, and I teach people just like you, mate. I work from checklists to
Mhm.
teach people how to trade. I have a Discord community. I used to have a great big podcast. I've been toying with the idea of doing another one, but the markets have taken up. Well, markets and fishing have taken up a lot of my
So I've
time,
seen you out there a little
and
bit, yeah.
and now that I'm 40, I like to have a little bit more spare time for myself and my kids. So, trader, veteran, teach people like you, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
No, I appreciate it. So where do you do your fishing, up here in the Goldie or when you're down at the Sydney?
My boat's in Noosa, so I get up there
Hmm.
quite a bit. I used to have the boat in Sydney, but when I'm in Sydney, I spend a week in Sydney and a week in Queensland, generally on the Gold Coast in Tallabudgera Valley. I'm separated, so it's the week that I
Hmm.
don't have my kids, I get out of there. I'm not a huge fan of living in Sydney. So when I'm in Sydney, I never really got to use the boat because, as you know, the pickups, the drop-offs, the swimmings, the
Hmm.
dancing, the soccer, all the sports, I just didn't have time to go. So it's up in Noosa now, mostly Queensland and the odd trip here and there as well. After the bull market, I think I'll be doing a lot more trips to say like Papua New Guinea and the Coral Sea and that sort of stuff. But anyway, I don't care. I just love it.
You might even be upgrading that boat after the bull market.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Or getting another one. Getting another one.
Yeah, sounds good. And I know you were in traditional markets and then you transitioned into crypto. Are you solely a crypto trader now, or do you still have like a long-term portfolio or, swing account in traditional stocks as well?
Yeah, good question. No, I'm full time all crypto now.
Mm,
And look, when I see your stuff, because I do follow what you're posting, I do
mm,
look at it and go, oh man, I need to fire up that interactive brokers account and
mm,
get back to it. But look, the reason I'm just crypto is because look, my risk is the same, right? So my multiple of risk is let's say $1,000, right? Just to make the numbers nice and easy. If I'm trading crypto, the same $1,000 risk is the same $1,000 risk if I'm trading FX. The
mhm,
multiple of reward in crypto is far greater. Okay, now you might get periods where you don't get as many opportunities, right? So it's a slow period where markets go sideways. However, I can still grind out a living in crypto. It's the times like now, either up or down, bull market or bear market, or it doesn't even have to be a bull or bear. Just when there's trends, that the multiples of the return on that same $1,000 is greater. So the way I look at it is I can take fewer trades,
mhm,
less accounting, less screenshots, less time spent at the markets, but potentially greater profit. So for me, a
mhm.
business that will yield me the same, if not better outcomes, whilst requiring less of my time means more fishing and more free time. So that's
Yep.
the reasoning behind why. Because I could be trading those other markets today. Like I know how
Mm,
to trade those markets, but it's more of a drain on my time. And that's why I've sort of just stuck with crypto because it does have a greater multiple for the way that I trade anyway.
mhm. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I treat crypto like a sector. So
Yeah.
when I look at my markets, I go, okay, is crypto that sector looking hot? And then when it's there, I'm there. When it's not, I'm not. And I couldn't agree more. When the sector's hot, the waves are the largest you'll find anywhere in the world, and you'd be an idiot not to be there. So, but I also know those those waves can also damage and really hurt you if you're on the wrong side of them as well. So you got to make sure that you've got the education around that as well. Now, easy. So, how did you probably everyone probably knows the market had took a big dump last night? How did you position yourself in that, and what are you kind of seeing in the market now? Like, do you think as people are probably thinking, oh, that's it, it's over? Like, what are you thinking? Where do you think it might come back to? Where would you be looking to go long, etc. From here?
Yeah, look, it's no doubt it's had a pullback. How am I? I'm happy because I'm flat now. I've still got my spot bags, my investments. I see them as investments. My trading account, I'm flat. I got taken out of my last position long on Casper. So the way my methodology and the way that I trade is I'm a trend follower. Okay, so I'll get waves of opportunity. Like last week, there was about 8 trades, for which I took about 6 of those. 2 of them, I just couldn't be there at the time. I had other obligations, but I had a loss, 2 break-evens, 1% profit, and 1 bigger 4% profit. So over that cluster, it should have been about 7% gains over that period. It ended up being about 4. And that was about a week and a half. So I'm very satisfied with that. My stops were trailed up to where they needed to be. I won't say that I saw a pullback being, I'm not one of these people that's got this wonderful hindsight ability, where I go, oh, I knew it was going to fall. The probabilities were that there was going to be a pullback, but this is crypto. When's the pullback come? When it comes, right? So no, I profited really well from that period. The pullback that I'm seeing now, I'm seeing it as a couple of things. First, it's an opportunity. I hope for an opportunity anyway. I wanted to settle down. There's a lot of volatility right now, and I don't like trading when it's crazy volatility, especially if it's going against the major trend. It's like, okay, let's just wait for it to settle down and see what we get when the dust settles. I'm not seeing. If you look at total 2, which is a chart that is everything bar.
Do you want to share your? Do you want to share your chart?
Yeah,
I love getting inside other traders' heads and seeing your workflow and your thinking and stuff like that.
All right, let me know. Can you see that?
Beautiful. Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'll go to
walk me through your strategy. What are you seeing from here?
Yeah, so total 2. First things first, it's everything minus Bitcoin. So it's the total market cap minus Bitcoin. Really good indication for alts moving. I talked quite frequently over the last few weeks about this. Simply higher low. If we could break up through here, we'd have a higher high. We got that. It closed above, which meant this candle here, which was last week, that was the week that we made money because I was ahead of the game. I could see what was a high probability in my situation of how I trade, and I was able to find entries. Now, if you look at this in a weekly, I mean, let's be real here. And this is where people, I think, falter, is they don't look at it and go, well, it's just had a 54.5% move. Oh, geez, it's pulled back 2.5%. The sky is falling. And narrow it down even further on the daily. Have a look at that. I mean, to see a pullback here, it's to be fair, the fact that it didn't pull back, it's taken, 3 weeks to get one singular 5% pullback. Mate, do you breathe in or do you breathe out? You do both, right? You know what I mean? This here could go a lot deeper. It could go a lot deeper. But realistically, I'm seeing this as a cracking trend, mainly based off of the weekly time frame. So that's my sort of macro-ish view.
Yep.
I see it going much higher. I see this being the beginning of an altcoin run. Now, keep in mind, to all the listeners out there and viewers, I am not a crystal ball. I work with probabilities. I have been wrong before, and I will be wrong again. So manage your risk always, but I see a very strong trend here. I see the beginning of a very strong trend. This simple pullback here is all that I am seeing it as, is a simple pullback. Depending on how the next 24 hours goes, we've got a bit of a bounce starting in our top 10 right now. Will that be maintained? Well, for the next couple of days, I'm happy to sort of just be just view what's going on and wait and see if there's any opportunities that produce long trades, but I am certainly very comfortable having no trades open, but equally very excited to see where my next trades are going to come from, because we now finally have one of those markets, in my opinion, that we just spoke of. When crypto goes, by Jingo, by George, does it go? I think we're in that realm of possibility there. And this first pullback, I think it's going to be quite telling. If it's drawn out and it takes a long time, okay, what's going on here? But a clean pullback with a steady consolidation would be marvelous. It might just snap back today too. This is crypto; it can do whatever it wants.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. This is we've got at least another move up until a further big move as well. Something that we teach is that the market moves in three phases: that accumulation, public participation, and the excess phase. And there's another rule that we follow, which is called the alternation rule. And can you see down there where you've got down at 1.15 trillion? See how it went really sideways from kind of like the 25th of, what are we in,
Here.
July? Yeah, that period there.
Yep.
See how it's really sideways and long and drawn out?
Yep.
Often, if you've got a really long, drawn out sideways, the next one will be really sharp and deep, and that's what we're having now. It's called the alternation rule. So this is something that we were expecting. I believe this is just a wave 4 pullback, and it's normal. And I particularly, I don't chart the total 2 as much. I really like to chart the others chart, OTHERS, because that's the top 10 outside. So I'm all about, when I'm in crypto, I want to know the waves are huge. And when this chart's outperforming, it means that your small caps are starting to come in, your micro coins, your things like that. I'm looking anywhere around that kind of 270 to 280 billion, which is, it just hit 280 now. So maybe it's in here, old resistance might be getting tested as support right now.
Back in here.
Yeah.
This is a chart that has been brought to my attention recently, and I've why can't I add it to, anyway, I'll do it later. I want to add that to my list too, because total 2 is great. It does encapsulate that top 10. This is fantastic as well, because it is your smaller caps. The thing is, with your total 2 chart, of course, the weighting of this is heavily in this top 10, and of that top 10, heavily Ethereum based. I kind of like that as well, because Ethereum breathes life. When it moves higher, Ethereum breathes life into sectors within crypto. So you've got, if Ethereum is doing well, you've got your DeFi narrative starts to come to fruition, because, it becomes a conversation again, the yield plays. That then spans off another section of Ethereum that can do really well. So I do like the total 2 for these reasons. But in saying that, I will be adding others, because it's been brought to my attention quite a few times, and I see no reason not to be honest, because the top 10 is a huge section of the market outside of Bitcoin. And like you saw just then, 290 billion, I think it was, for everything bar the top 10. So I will be adding that. Thank you for reminding me of that, and bringing that to the forefront.
A good way to think about it is, it's kind of like the Russell 2000 from traditional markets. And when they're pumping, or the XOO on the Australian markets, and when the small caps are pumping, you've got risk on. Okay. And that's why I in particular really chart this one, is because when it's pumping, you've got risk on in crypto, and that's ultimately what you're looking for, that risk on appetite. Another one I like to look at is the others dominance. Do you ever look at that one?
What's that others.d?
Yeah, others.d. And the reason why I really look at this one is because what this is showing is that others chart I just showed you is outperforming the top 10. And when it's outperforming the top 10, that's when you're risk. That's it. That's when you're on alt season.
Why can't I add that? Anyway, yes, I like that.
Let me I'll share my screen. I'll just show you something that where is it? Screen 4. So I had been previously very bearish on coins. And the reason why is because when everyone's screaming the same thing from the rooftops, it often doesn't happen. And then everyone was screaming the 4-year halving cycle and how rich they're going to be. And, they're all programmed in. And I was, it just seemed too good to be true kind of thing. And for me, what I was always worried about is, this is this was that kind of B wave or corrective move of the halving cycle, and now we've taken down this low. So if you look at it, altcoins have actually really underperformed Bitcoin
Oh yeah.
since the top of 2021, and we
Yeah,
all
that
know
was
that.
that we had a good run of altcoins and then it went to shit, didn't it?
Yeah. So that run that we had was from June 2023 up until kind of March. That was
Yeah.
where, it was a really good run. We had that kind of Trump pump here, which was really nice.
Yep.
And now, so as you can see, we're still in a downtrend, which is
Yep.
showing that altcoins are still underperforming. But for the first time since this 2021, I'm actually hopeful here now because we've actually corrected the move, and all I'm looking for now is that change of market structure. Once this changes
Yep.
market structure on the weekly time frame, it is on. It is old
Well, you look at
season.
the charts the same way. I like that.
Yeah,
It's a lot of similarities.
yeah.
You're looking for, when you say market structure, I mean, you're looking for in my view, it's just a trend change, a higher low and a higher high.
Mm.
You mentioned something before with the different rules or however you put it. Excessive period? Was it excessive zone or?
Yeah. So it's just how you talked about before. The market pullbacks are healthy. It's part of the thing. That's it. The market, they zig and they zag. And one of the sayings that I always say
Yep.
is, if you can't handle the zags, you don't deserve the zigs, because markets don't move in a straight line.
Yeah.
Some meme coins do, but majority of them don't. They always pull back. We know they move like this.
Yep.
Okay. And there's actually a method to this, which Dow discovered back 150 years ago. Then Ralph Elliott took it even further with Elliott waves, etc. And what you've got are the three phases here, which is the accumulation, public, and excess phase. Okay, the accumulation phase is where the smart money get in, people in the know. Normally, the sentiment's really bearish during that period. The public is where the public start getting involved, and normally the sentiment will start to shift and change. And the excess phase is where your taxi driver's telling you, "Man, this thing's going on the moon," and blah, that kind of thing. Once you get that, you then get a healthy retracement. Okay, and it just comes down to your Fibonacci retracement, known typically the 382 to 618 kind of zone, and then it happens again.
Yeah.
And then that one has a pullback, and then again and then it happens again. But then what you've got is a bigger accumulation, public, and excess. So then you get these big moves, corrections.
Yep.
So that's what I'm talking about. And with others, like that's what we had last time. This is why I'm excited for now as well. If we go to the daily chart, last time you can see here, this is the accumulation phase where no one's talking about altcoins. Okay, it's where smart money's positioned. This is your public participation phase.
Yep.
And then this was your excess phase. And what was that? Trump just dropped a meme coin, total excess. Oh my God, we're all going to be so rich. And then it thing. We've now corrected that move. Okay.
Yep.
So and now it's come down to just a healthy retracement down to the zag zone. See, bouncing off the 618.
618.
So now that change of market structure. So now this should be the accumulation. We should go into the public pullback and then the excess, etc. And that rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse and repeat. So you can see it over here as well. Accumulation phase, public, excess, and then you correct the whole move. So it just goes over and over and over again. So yeah, so that's the way that I'm positioned now, and the fact that this was your accumulation phase. We've had a healthy pullback. This is just the first move coming up now. And I've got it, coming down to this kind of 270, 280 zone. This was my zone that I'm looking for longs again. So somewhere around here. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Why, before we hit record, how we were saying we both have different approaches to how we actually trade, right? But I've noticed a lot of the times when I'm sort of in that, yes, let's go. You're in that same, you're saying the same things in a different light, really. Or you've come to the conclusion in your way at the same time I have, and now I know why. Those waves that you're talking about, I don't use Elliott wave. Obviously you do use it well. But ultimately, what I'm looking for is the same thing as the high low and the high high, that reversal of trend. So you explaining that the way you've just explained it to me, it's maybe go, that's why when it's go for me, it's also go for Dave. It's interesting because we're coming to the same conclusions in a different way, and that's what trading is. If we all did it exactly the same, we wouldn't have a market that's worth trading.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I always say. I'm like, you got to remember, like, just like sports teams, like a game of basketball, not everyone's a Michael Jordan. You need a Dennis Rodman that can be a good rebounder. You need someone that's a good three-pointer. So everyone's got their different style, but together, as long as they're getting points and they're going in the same direction, what you're after, that's it. And as long as you're making money, it doesn't matter. You don't all want to be like me. You don't want to all be like you. You've got to take, the best of all the people that you do appreciate and then put your own personality on it, because it has to suit your lifestyle, your personality, and your style, etc. Yeah, definitely. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
are there any coins that you're particularly like? Are there ones that you always kind of like to look at and trade, or ones that or you just kind of whatever opportunity comes kind of thing?
Half the time, or probably more than half, probably 90% of the time, I have no idea what the coin does. I
Mm,
don't care. When it comes to trading, I'm just reading the charts. The ones,
mm,
obviously, there are anything with deep liquidity is what I'm
mm,
interested in, because one of the things with crypto, once you start, once you're doing it for a living, you're risking per trade, an amount of money that's not
mm,
insignificant, shall we say.
mm,
Um, you're not always going to get deep enough liquidity with margin to be able to get the fill. So that opens up slippage. Slippage is bad. It increases your risk on
mm,
the entry. I mean, you might set a limit order there and get filled, but that's great. It's not a cheat code though, because if you're going to have a market stop, which you should do, then your market stop's going to hit the books and you're going to get slipped badly on the way out. So it's always, for me, preference is to look for liquidity. Often though, I
mm.
won't, often I can look at a chart and I can just see on the chart, like if there's massive spikes all over the place, or if you go to a 15-minute chart, it just looks like R2D2's farts, like it's just,
Yeah, yeah, I
you
agree.
know what I mean? It just looks
Yeah.
wonky, and you're like, yeah, there's no liquidity there, so I'll skip that. Other times, what I'll do is I'll put it in my list. If the trade sets up, when I open up my trading account, I will then go and do my calculations of the size of the position, da da da, and then just look at
Hmm.
the order book and go, is there enough depth there? And often I go, it's just not worth it. I don't want to get filled in like 10% of the position size that I want, because it's the same amount of work to manage that trade as if I have a full position, but I'm getting 1/10 of the reward
Mm,
for the same work. I'll generally just close that position and be like, I'm done with you. You're not worth my time. I'm going to go and find something else. So
mhm, mhm,
if I can find a trade in the top 10, I'll take it because I know I can. So I love the high liquidity markets. And then look, it's swings and roundabouts too, right? Like once we get more participation, more market cap, more liquidity flowing in, well, then some of these charts that were 3 months ago not tradable, they're tradable today because there is more
mm,
liquidity.
mm,
So it's just a case by case type thing. But there's nothing that I really go, oh, I love trading this because of this. It's
mhm.
just wherever the trades come about, I couldn't care less.
So, what's your main strategy? Like, you obviously look for a change of market structure. Do you look for anything prior to that to kind of confirm that it's going to change or anything like that? Do you use divergence or volume? And yeah, what are some kind of things that you combine together?
So I don't use volume. Anyone that's seen my charts,
Hmm.
you'll see that they're very naked.
Hmm.
I have a 10 period exponential moving average. I have a 20 period exponential moving average, and I have a MACD. I have deleted the histogram. I have deleted the signal line, and I only have the MACD line.
Okay.
And it's because I've over 20 years of doing it. I used to have the RSI, stochastic, CCI, 200 moving average, 50 moving average, and I had all that stuff. And what I found with the indicators, the RSI, the MACD, CCI, and stochastics, was they were all
Mm,
telling me the same thing.
mm,
The way that I look at them, the way that I trade, I'm like, why have I got four of these buggers down here when they're all like the RSI with the out of the box settings was just a little bit more emotional than what the MACD was telling
mm,
me. You know what I mean? So I was
mm,
like, what suits my trend following style? So I don't have very much there. I do look at the MACD for convergence and divergence. So the MACD is there for
mm,
one reason and one reason only. It's to keep me out of trades.
mm,
So the question then comes of that. If it's divergent, Craig, if you're in an uptrend, will you short divergence? No.
mm,
My trading methodology, it's like baking a cake. Yeah. There are certain ingredients that you need for that cake, and they need to be in a certain order for you to be able to create the batter. Then you've got to put it in the oven for a certain amount of time. And the more you do it, the better you're
mhm.
going to get. right? So
Hmm.
it comes down to having a number of different items on that checklist met for a trade. For the market itself, I don't look at volume. I look at the chart and I just look at the trend, the weekly time frame. I mean, the best time for me, highest probability go time is monthly uptrending, weekly uptrending, daily uptrending. That's for an uptrend. That's what we've got now. For
Hmm.
a bear market, look, the monthly is going to take some time to catch up. But if the weekly goes to downtrend and the daily is downtrending, I'm, you know, going to hell in a handbasket short. So
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
more so price action than anything else, Dave. It really is. I'm a massive student of price because in my humble opinion, it's the only thing that's real. Everything else is derived off of price. So I've sort of built
Hmm.
my career around understanding and reading that language, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Price action's king. That saying didn't come out of nowhere.
Nope.
Um, It is funny though, hey, when you start off, you think there's some kind of magic indicator out there. You go and explore everything, and you always just come back to where you started. And funny enough, it's the same thing when I was in the education field as well. All the education thing would go full circle. You go get all this new research, all this, and then it's like, hang on, we've just come back to what we were doing 20 years ago, and it just goes full circle. And I think you have to do it to know that you don't need it. It's one of
Yeah.
those things where we can say it being experienced and say, hey guys, you don't need this. But it's something I tell all my students. I say, well, I'm going to detox every single one of you the minute you come in because you've got bad habits.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you
Yeah.
know? How do you know I got bad habits? Well, because you're paying to learn how to trade right now. So if you didn't have bad habits, you'd be profitable. You wouldn't need me. You know what I mean? So
Yep. Totally.
yeah, I bring it back, detox them, bring it right back. I do use two indicators. I use RSI and OBV. Same thing. I know what you were saying before about the different things. RSI is a price momentum indicator. MACD is a price momentum indicator. They're all telling you the same shit, just in a different way. So yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need multiple ones of that. But OBV is volume. And RSI, I don't use for the oversold and overbought. That's a lagging indicator. I use for divergence. And something I always say to the guys is that the markets are very much like a car. You drive around, people don't just turn left and right without letting you know they're going to turn. They'll put their
Yeah.
blinker on. And that's exactly what the market does. The market will often show you the weakening momentum, show you the divergence, the lower in volume before the price action actually turns around. So that's what I look for. I look for, you probably heard me use language like blinkers and stuff. That's that.
Yep.
So I'm seeing the blinkers. But just like drivers, some blinkers put the blinkers on right before they turn. Some do it, 10 minutes before they
And
turn.
some
And
turn it on and they're
yeah,
not going to turn at all.
that's it. And then some don't do it. So that's why, again, yes, I would never just trade divergence because it's a
Yeah.
signal. And, if you were to trade to blinkers out there driving, you'd have an accident within the week. So you've got to make sure at the end of the day, the price action is the car actually turning. When you
Yep.
see it turn and it had its blinker on, it's a double green,
Confirmation.
confirmation. Yeah. So that's the exact way that I trade.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like it comes back like Jesse Livermore says it really well. I mean,
Mm,
reminiscence of a stock operator in 1915 or whenever he wrote that book. He said markets never change because human nature never changes.
mm,
And that one saying is burnt into my brain when it comes to markets because I get it all the time, especially now. I got a lot of people that are in my community. We're trading together. I get filled a lot of questions. Oh, what do you think about this news? What do you blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? See these things in my head. It's to cancel that noise, right? Do
mm.
the same. Know what you're looking
Yep.
at, know what you're looking for, and everybody else can. That's why 95% of traders fail. That's
Mm.
why,
Yeah.
because they're going,
Mm.
oh, something flashy. Oh, try this. Oh, I'll try that. Oh, this person said this is great. Everyone's got something to sell you.
Mm.
Often, the bottom line is this: you're going to have to do some work, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just going to
Mm.
be a magic. Here's an auto trading bot, or here's a special indicator that makes. I've been trading a long time. I've got a number of very successful trading buddies over my 20 years that I'm still mates with. Let me tell you something. Not one of those trades off of somebody else's information or a fancy indicator. I do have
Mm.
guys. I used to have an auto trading bot on the TF, the Russell Mini, and
Yep.
it was profitable. But I stopped using it because, well, I go, why would you stop using it if it's profitable? Because it would win about 30% of the time. And I was
Hmm.
finding that that would affect my psychology when it came to my discretionary trading, because I'm like, oh shit, I'm sitting on 6 losses on that over 6 days. Oh, maybe I won't, and I killed it for that reason. The point I'm making
Hmm.
is that people that have trading bots, generally those bots are written by people that know how to trade first.
100%. Yeah, that's right. You got to, it's programming using technical analysis. And if the person doesn't know technical analysis, then how does it work? So, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's got to, and I'm a big like, um, bots are kind of like a supplement to what you're doing. You always want those multiple things of passive income.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're only reliant on something like that, then what if it stops working one day? Then what? So it's always good to, yep, that's fine. You have an amount of money you don't mind in there too. And I'm more
Yeah.
pro for that. But yeah, at the end of the day, when you start, you know, you're never going to put millions of dollars in a bot. And that's the way I look at it, in the fact that, you're all looking to be wealthy. And when you've got wealthy, you got that $1 million plus, you need to know how to manage that, and you need to know how to manage it through
Keep it.
long-term wealth. That's it.
Yeah.
And, basketball players and stuff like that, they get hundreds of millions of dollars. Most of them are broke within 5 years because they got no financial education as to how to have, to look after that money and keep it going. So yeah, that financial education is so key, definitely.
Everyone wants the money, but what they really want, what they really need is the education so that they have got that
Mm,
in them. Like, I mean, that's obviously what you do, mate. Same as what I do. The whole point of what I do in helping other people and teaching people is trying to make them the best trader they can be, right? Not me, that they can be.
mm,
And I
mm,
want them to not need me. Like, I don't do, like, people go, oh, can I follow your trades? Look, I'll point you in the right direction in my Discord group. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I'll do my scans. You'll know what I'm trading. But I'm not going to
mm,
say, I am going long on this and here are my orders, because
mm,
that's not giving you anything.
mm,
That's creating a junkie. If I decide that I want to take a year off and go fishing, well, you're screwed, because I'm not
mm,
giving you anything now. I want you
mm.
to know what you're doing so you can go, you know what? Craig tells too many stories when he does his morning scans. I'm sick of hearing his shit. I'm out of here. And it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree 100%. Like whenever I post something, it's educational. Hey guys, remember how I talked about the change of market structure? Here it is. Remember how we talked about here it is. So it will always link back to some kind of educational content, definitely. Because yeah, no point giving them the fish for free. You got to teach them how to fish themselves for sure.
That's it. And
So,
they got to work. They got to work. I'm sick of people who just think it's going to be, oh, hey, presto, you're instantly successful. That's the worst thing that could happen. That's the worst thing that could
mm,
happen. You make money
yeah,
straight away. You are going to get hurt big time. You're better off having a struggle at the start and getting a bit of that grit, giving it a good crack, seeing where you make mistakes, learning from that, having something to measure against, and go, oh, okay, I know why I'm shit. I'm going to not be
mm,
shit anymore. And there you
mm.
go. The flower opens.
And that's it. Like if everyone's chasing that 100x moon coin to get rich, but let's say right now you put 10K in one and it turns into $1 million, you've been rewarded for a bad habit. You're not just going to
Yes.
take that $1 million and walk away, are you? You're going to then repeat. Oh, if I've done it once, I can do it again. And then you end up giving it all back
Yep.
because you got lucky once. And then you go, oh, I'll put another 10K in this one, that one, that one. And then all of a sudden, most of it's gone because you haven't actually done it or got it the right way.
Yep.
Um, is there, so with the market right now, I know you're long right now. When do you just ride the market structure and you're just long until the market structure changes, or like do you have price targets that you look for? Like what's your belief on where you think Bitcoin's going, things like that? How long do you think this alt run will go for? Do you go for time or price action? Yeah, what's your
Yeah.
your thesis around that?
So with my trading, the trading is different to my sort of spot bags, but with my trading,
Mm,
it's just the market structure. So if I take a trade on the 8 hour time frame, let's say, I will be, unless decided upon prior to entering into the trade. So decisions for a
mm,
trade are made at the time of entry, not after. Oh, it's done this, so therefore I'll change to this. No, that's
mm,
emotion talking, not structure and logic and a plan. So
mm,
if I 9 times out of 10, if I'm taking a trade on say an 8 hour time frame, I will scale out often, not always. Often I'll scale out at 1 to 1, and that's what I teach, because
mm,
it's much easier for people that are beginning trading or with a new strategy to be able to continue forward if they know there's no risk on that trade. So it's
yep.
about creating a good mental environment for people to progress. But for
Mm-hmm,
me,
mm-hmm,
sometimes I won't scale out, but I will be trailing my stop to the higher lows. which is just the
Mhm.
market structure, as you call it, until I get stopped out. If something goes bananas, like let's say I'm filled and all, it just goes straight line and I'm up, 10x on my wrist. So I'm like, holy shit. Well, I come back to what I call it's the best worst case scenario. So when people are like,
Mhm.
oh, there's so much money, what do I do? Well, think of the
Mhm.
best worst case scenario. If you close the whole trade now and it keeps going, how's that going to make you feel? If you close half of it and it pulls back, are you going to be okay with that? So I give them a bunch of different multiples and myself, obviously, because everything comes from me. What's
Mhm.
going to make me feel comfortable under no matter what happens? How am I going to be the most mentally okay? Because you'll know this, mate, but it's all about here and how you're feeling
Mhm.
and how you're operating. So I will market structure until something goes bananas with my investments. Again, my targets were set back in when I bought my spot portfolio in August of 2023. So I play a long
Mhm.
game in that regard for that portfolio. I've sold a couple of Bitcoin at 120
Mhm.
because that was my first target. As things have shifted, I'll probably be looking to sell another bunch at 148.
Mhm.
And if we can get anywhere near 180, I'll probably be offloading a significant amount at that point for two reasons.
Mhm.
One, I have made a buttload of money.
Mhm.
There's some massive gains. I'm not one. I don't like selling into sellers. I like
Mhm.
selling as it's going up. Right.
Yep.
I
Yep.
find it psychologically so much easier. I don't care. So there's an ego part of it that needs to die. I don't care
Mhm.
if I sell at 180 and it goes to 260. I don't look at that and go, oh man, I left 80 grand on the table per Bitcoin. I look at that and go, okay, I bought at 30. When I was at 180, I was on the wrong side of the risk on that trade.
Mhm.
I've gone from 30 to 180 and I want an extra 60. Each dollar it goes higher, the probability of it reaching that 260 decreases because it will have a pullback at some stage. So my brain's going, I prefer to just go, that's enough. That's enough. Oh, and if it gets to there, that's enough too. If it gets to there, doesn't get to there, and then the market structure changes, there will be a point at which I go, okay, and it's generally the weekly. Okay, the weekly trend has reversed. Looking at the monthly, how overextended are we? What are the likelihoods, the probabilities? You know what? Kill it all. Time for a year off. That's the
Yep.
way I look at my investment portfolio. I hate selling um, on the way down. I thankfully, fingers crossed, touch wood, uh, I haven't had to sell much on the way down. It's generally just the last little bit. But my rule when I was buying back in August was if it hits a 5x, take the risk off. So let's say I bought 100 grand worth of Solana and at 5x. Well, I take the 100
Mhm.
grand off at 5x. I've still got 400K, which is open profit. I can take that whenever I want, provided it's outside of my 12-month capital gains tax window, which it was. So that's the way I started in 2023 August. So a
Okay.
number of those have hit those targets. A number of them haven't, but yeah, selling on the way up, having a plan in place, and just sticking to that bloody plan. I don't
Stick.
care if it's raining buffalo. Nothing changes. The
Mm.
market's still the market. My target's still my target. Done.
Mm. Dude, that is like it's literally like listening to myself. I'll share my screen. And I literally said this to the students yesterday. Exactly what you just said, and I'll just show you here. Can you see that? Yep.
Yep.
So I went into my. This is my section here, and I'll just pull up what I. So this is what I was talking about here. But here I said closed all leverage longs from 3 weeks ago. So this is 2 days ago. I've closed all longs for so I'm still holding all spot positions as they've been swing traded, different rules. I
Yep.
will look to re-enter around that 270 burn note. Reward does not equal the risk from here, which is exactly what you were just saying. Okay, because you got to look at it from there. And then one of the students said down here, oh, why wouldn't you wait for change of market structure? And I said, because they are leverage plays. By the time that happens, I've given back too much. I'd rather not get greedy and sell into strength, which is exactly what you said as well. Sell into the green, not the red, and leave
Yep.
my spot positions open, still making money. Anyone from here is dangerous and on leverage. And that's the different mindset, for a beginner, they're all about, but I'll leave money on the table. For us, I'm like, dude, I've just made money.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't made money because I haven't sold.
Banked
So
it.
unless
Yeah.
I sell today, I actually haven't made a thing. And I would have woken up and pretty much cried today if I'd had all my leverage positions open still and just gone, and, why didn't I sell? Why didn't I sell? Why didn't I sell, going into it?
But that's a different mindset, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
we make our, like, people go, oh, well, you're teaching people. Yes, my business makes money. Your business makes money, but we're here for the markets. We make our living from the markets, and I have done for I've been trading for 21 years. This is my 21st year. I have been full time for 15 years. When we talk about treating trading as a business, it's spoken of in every single course that's out there, whether it's someone who knows what they're talking about or it's someone who's just good at marketing. They all talk about trading as a business. But trading as a business, when you do it, it's a different kettle of fish. You look at profit in a different way. You look at risk in a different way, because you're looking at a P&L over 12 months, every 12 months, right? That's the reality. If you're going to do it full time, then looking at it over 12 months, am I going to make any money this year? How am I going to make that money this year? Oh, I've got 60 grand of profit on the table and I'm on the wrong side of the risk. I'm banking that 60K, because that 60K that now goes in my bank or wherever it goes. And now I know, okay, cool. If I'm aiming to make 400 this year, there's 60K towards that. To think that you're just going to go bang 400K in one whack and then that's it. No, you've got to be smart about taking the opportunity or taking the profit. Sorry, first of all, taking the opportunity when it's there and not being in a place of fearfulness, which banking profits certainly helps you with that. So again, managing the psychology, but banking the profits when they're there too. So you go, okay, cool. Q3 has begun. I am now sitting roughly around where I need to be, and the best is yet to come, in my opinion. And that's the view. That's the different mindset of somebody like you and I that have been doing this for a long time. It is our living. The educational side of it, for me personally, is I want to give back. But I tell you what, you've probably been here too, man. It's a little bit boring by yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And just the messages you receive from the students is it's the big why.
It's
I
crack.
I became a primary school teacher in the first place to, help kids and stuff like that. And I never even thought about adults, and now, just getting messages from students just saying, oh, I finally clicked and I finally got this. And just knowing you're making those differences is, like you need purpose, man. Life's not about money. It's not about this and that and buying a Ferrari and a mansion. Like that doesn't, anyone that's really wealthy will tell you, once you've got all the money in the world that you can get whatever you want, then what? It's like you need purpose. You need something that, makes you want to wake up in the morning and give back, etc.
Yep.
I'll go through kind of like my thought process on what I went through just then. And I'll just share here, because how I approach the markets is, as we know, markets move on supply and demand. Okay. So for every buyer, someone's selling, isn't it? And then for every seller, someone's buying. So you've got to always think about, and I always say, you've got to treat the market as if when you're holding a position, you're essentially saying you would buy it today. Because if you're not looking in profit, it means you're holding it, which means you're buying it. So I always say you got to treat it as if today, would you buy that coin or that stock, etc. So I went very long on crypto here when we changed market structure. Really easy. When I can get the right brush. So we came up, we had a consolidation, we broke out. Very easy. Stop below here. That's where I went long 3 weeks ago, and I went leverage long on all of my positions, etc. The reason why I close the leverage positions here is because what I tell my students is I will close a position where I can actually build up a reason to short it there. Okay, so I always say the market's built up for bulls and bears. So you got your bulls over here, your bears over here. Here, I couldn't justify shorting it there. Like I had all these reasons to go long, change your market structure, bullish divergence, increase in volume, breaker declines, off the zags, and all these. I built up a case as to why. And then I looked down and went, okay, why would I short it here? And I couldn't, like there was maybe one reason, maybe a decline resistance or something like that, So that's what I always say. Pretend you're in front of a judge and you're like, are you a bull or are you a bear, sir? Here's all the evidence why I'm a bull. Here's the evidence why I'm a bear. Who's going to win the case? The bull's going to win. That's why I went long. Here, once I bought, I then go, okay, where would I look to build a short position. That's how I find my take profit targets. So then all I did was go back the other way, and I went, okay, from here, you got your fib retracement. This is the fib 5 that
Bang on the
also
50.
happens to go back to this major
An old
resistance
level.
support. You also then got to take yourself back to here. What was this Trump trade? What was everyone doing here? Buying the dip, thinking moon alt season was coming. So there's a lot of trapped money here. Okay, because that was people buying the dip. So
That's their
all of those
break-even point.
exactly, all of those buyers are going to be looking to get out here. Some of them, so we need to absorb. So that supply will come online here. So what I looked at was, FIB 500 with old major support resistance. It's in the zag zone. This is where sellers should step in. So that's where I said we're going to have sellers step in here. And that's why I could then go, you know what, I could justify a short here, which is if I'm holding it here, why the hell would I hold it here into a resistance level? So, and again, that was for my leverage positions. Swing trading is completely different. That is zig, zag, zig. If you can't handle the zags, you don't deserve the zigs. So this is me going, okay, well, yep, that's fine. That's a different strategy. But for my leveraged, it's all around, no, the risk reward's not worth it here. I'm out. So yeah, that was my whole process there. But
do you know what I love too? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're right.
What you just said was, if you can't find a reason not to be long, that's when you're trading. Now, that's exactly like I get another area where we're speaking to the same language. That's the same with the checklist strategies that I've got. There's a level of importance you go down. I go into the market. I said to people, go into the market not looking for trades, because if you're looking for trades, you will find one. You'll find plenty because you want to. I go into the market and go, okay, is there anything I shouldn't I do my analysis. I scan like 500 and something pairs. I get a watch list, and then it's like, is there any reason for me not to take this? Oh, there's not. Well, then I shall take it. If I can't find a reason, or like you said, like maybe there's one reason that you can come up with, but if the layering of that checklist, it's like, well, I can't see any reason right now not to take that trade. Well, boom, psychology engage. I'm happy whether I make a win or a loss because there's no reason not to take it, so I will take it. Exactly the same methodology, different ways of getting there, but exactly the same mentality. It's Look, I shouldn't be surprised because I know that you are actually a trader, and I know that you're good at what you do. But interesting that our methodologies are, and the way that we come to our conclusions to trade or not trade, very, very similar. The market structure you're talking about, the point at which you did get long, very similar. For me, there's a higher low there on the daily. It breaks that higher high, boom, let's go. That's not a trade for me. That's okay, it's time. Let's find our opportunities now. So really, really cool. I don't say that really cool because it's everyone likes to be hearing what they believe. I'm saying really cool because we do things very differently, but the bigger points are almost identical.
Aligned.
It's cool. It's just interesting too.
Yeah, I always like we've got and there's a Frank Watkins. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's been stock trading for over 50 years. Invented Pro Trader and that. He does a call on Monday night with us in Academy. And he always drops these gold nuggets all the time. And he's like, back when I was trading, man, I used to have to ring someone. It'd cost me $100 to get in, $100 to get out, and that's $100 back in the day, which is probably like $500 now. Yep. So if you think about that, you would only buy something if you were pretty much, it's a sure thing. The problem we have now is how easy is it to buy and sell? You just like, oh, whatever, I did it. And I said the same thing. I'm like, you got to treat it like you would dating. You don't just go, oh yeah, you're kind of good enough. I'll go out with you for the next 5 years. No, you've got a checklist that you look for in a partner. You're like, you got to have this and this and this and this. And unless you have those qualities, you're not wasting time on it. So have those same qualities and that same filtering list with your trades. If it does not meet your criteria, do not waste your time on it because it's only going to end badly, just like the relationship will.
Yeah.
So, have that. And I always say it's very much like surfing. You don't see surfers take every single wave. They look for a criteria to ride that wave. And they will only take the one that will give them the most enjoyment. But why? Because you know how much effort it is to then duck dive and get all the way back out there again. So, you're only doing that effort if it's worth the result of the wicked wave. You're not going to be doing all that work just for that was nothing. So yeah,
Totally agree.
I've pretty much said the same thing. I'm like, I'm actually looking to not get into a trade. So you got to convince me as to why you're worth my time.
Yep. And I find as well with that, when you say that to a student, to somebody who's like, if I'm mentoring someone, which I don't do all that often anymore, but if I did,
Mm,
when I do it on the odd occasion, generally there'll be two. When someone starts out, there'll be two things that they'll do: they'll overtrade, or they won't trade at all.
mm,
They're the two
mm-hmm.
most common occurrences. The overtrading one is that what you just said. Just whoa, take a breath, relax, rest.
Mm,
The person who's not trading is generally just too caught in their heads. That's why there's two sides to that. But having that disciplined approach, having that, I mean, the reason I have checklists is not because I thought, oh, that'll sell well. It's because 15 years ago when I got a hold of these checklists and I started to create them with my mentor at the time, Nick McDonald, um, I had some really great trades and some really shit trades. And I
mm,
knew that if my mentor said, listen, do this for the week and that's it, I could do that. I could do that.
mm.
The checklist just allow me to go blah, 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 blah. Don't care what it,
Yeah, block out that noise.
I
Yep.
don't care. I don't shush. You're not even there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And just focus on what my job is. And a lot of people just get a bit too caught up in all that external noise when they don't need to. And that wave analogy is correct. It's, you are sitting there and you are waiting for the time. You're not always going to be having trades. And if you want to be trading
Mm,
every day, well, if that's what you want, then go ahead and do that. But it's not going to make you any
mm,
money. Like
mm,
you're not going to get better at it. You can't. You've got to have a process of elimination. You've got to have standards, and you've got to back yourself when those standards come. If you're taking everything, how do you back yourself? You're not going to back yourself on everything, are you? I mean,
mm,
that's going to backfire pretty quick. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. I say the same thing about fishing. I can go fishing for 2 hours and catch a load of fish. And they go, how do you do that? I've been fishing here all day. Well, the moon phase, the tides, the time
mm,
of year,
mm,
the bait, the water temperature. There's 1,000 things that I'm looking at, but I've
mm-hmm.
learnt those things over my whole life of fishing. So I can narrow it down to I know when to go. And I got a very high probability of being successful. You just bought a fishing rod from the local fishing tackle store and you chucked a bait in the water. We're not on the same level, and that's okay.
Mm,
Like
mm.
experience matters, and it takes time.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I use the fishing analogy all the time as well because it's true. Because that's the part that I actually don't have in my skill set, which is the time element. There is Jonathan Evans. He's all around GAN theory and that time element, and he's at next level. I'm just like, and it's the same with exactly. Like you said with fishing. It's all around the time of the right time. When are the fish biting, etc. As well. Nah, could not agree more. So, mate, I've been absolutely amazing having you on. If anyone's kind of really resonated with you and your style, where can they find more of your stuff?
YouTube, the Grow Me Co, the Grow Me Co, and same thegrowmeco.com. I do a free newsletter that goes out every
Hmm.
Tuesday. So yeah, no obligation to do anything with that. If you want to learn more about my trading and how I trade, same website. But the free newsletter is a really great place to start because you get a bit of information about how I trade, what I trade, and a weekly analysis there as well. On X, I am Trader Cobb, Cobb, and on Facebook,
Hmm.
I am Craig Cobb, Cobb for Bravo, not Cod, Cobb.
Nice. I'll put all those links in the description, guys. If you want to get them, go and check him out.
And on the flip
Same thing.
side, before you go,
Hmm.
because I'm going to be putting this out to my people as well. Um, you and I think in a very similar way, in abundance. You're here to help people. I'm here to help people. I want to see people do well. So I want anyone who knows my methodology and how I trade, and you're involved with me. Please do also take a look at what's happening at Mastering the Markets with Dave here because the guy is a real trader. He knows what he's doing. His methodology is not the same as mine, but different horses for different courses. I think you said it earlier. Certain teachers, when you're at school, you resonate with them, and
Mm,
they're the ones
mm,
that help you move forward. Well, that might be me for you. It might be Dave for others. It's okay. Like find what works for you because both of us here want to see you do well, and it does take time and it does take a bit of suck it and see. So absolutely, anyone who's watching this from my end, please do look into what Dave and ASX Trader and Mastering the Markets is doing. I will drop the links as well because I got a lot of respect for you, mate. I know you. I know you're real. you put your money where your mouth is, and sadly, there's not enough of that
Mm.
in this area because it can be very lucrative for people. And I'm terrible at marketing, but I'm good at trading. There's a lot of people out there that are really good at
The
marketing and
opposite.
terrible at trading.
Yeah.
You got to find the gems that are out there, and I put you in one of those in that category, mate.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in let the results speak for themselves. Just put it all out there and that's it. No, I appreciate it, man, and appreciate you. And maybe let's get on a call another time and maybe we can actually look at the market together
Yeah,
and see there, look for some opportunity and try and find some winners together for both our communities.
mate, I'd love that. That sounds like a great idea.
Nah, legend. All right, buddy, take care and I'll catch you around.
Thanks,
Thanks,
mate.
mate.
Cheers, everyone.